Good morning students, this is 12th class biology, lecture 3 of chapter molecular basis of inheritance. So today you will learn about Hershey and Chase experiment, properties of genetic material, DNA versus RNA, RNA world and semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. So let's start with Hershey and Chase experiment first. So Hershey and Chase experiment actually provided proof for the DNA as genetic material. So by this experiment of Alfred Hershey and Martha Chase in 1952, a proof was given for the DNA as genetic material. Bacteriophages. What are bacteriophages? These are viruses that affect bacteria, were the key element for Hershey and Chase experiment. The virus doesn't have their own mechanism. Which virus? Bacteriophage. So these bacteriophage viruses doesn't have their own mechanism of reproduction, but they depend on host for the same. So here you can see this is one bacteriophage virus and this is bacterial cell. Okay, E. coli bacterial cell has been taken here by Hershey and Chase. So this bacteriophage virus, when enter inside the E. coli, its DNA enter inside the E. coli and then its DNA get incorporated with the genome of the bacteria and will start replicating. So this bacteriophage doesn't have its own mechanism of reproduction, but when it enter inside the host, its genome start replicating by incorporating with the genome of host. And who is host here? That is E. coli bacteria. So what was the experiment of Hershey and Chase? The experiment began with the culturing of viruses, bacteriophage viruses, in two types of medium. One set of viruses, that was called A, was cultured in a medium of radioactive phosphorus, whereas another set was cultured in a medium of radioactive sulfur. Okay, and here they observed that first set of viruses, that was A, that was cultured in radioactive phosphorus, consisted of radioactive DNA. Why? Because you know, first you have studied about the structure of DNA and you know that phosphorus is a part of DNA. Okay, so here this radioactive phosphorus will be picked by the DNA and DNA will become radioactive. So he observed that the set of viruses, first set of viruses, that is A, in those viruses DNA became radioactive, but not radioactive proteins were found because phosphorus is not a constituent of proteins. Okay, and this is because DNA is a phosphorus based compound while the protein is not. The later set of viruses means B set of viruses, which were cultured on radioactive sulfur, consisted of radioactive protein. Why? Because this sulfur is a constituent of protein, and here this radioactive sulfur was picked up by the protein part of the bacteriophage virus. That's why the viruses which were cultured on radioactive sulfur were having radioactive protein but not radioactive DNA, because sulfur is not found in DNA. That's why. So this is experiment of Hershey and Chase. Here you can see these are two sets of bacteriophages, one cultured on the radioactive phosphorus containing medium and another cultured on the radioactive sulfur containing medium. So here you can see in one set of bacteriophage, protein capsule is radioactive. This all part is protein capsule, outer part. So this is radioactive here. The red color is showing radioactivity, right? And in the another set of bacteriophages, this DNA is radioactive, which is present inside the head part of the bacteriophage. So this is radioactive here. Okay. So first step of the experiment was infection. Infection step was started with when the Hershey and Chase allowed bacteriophages to infect the bacteria E. coli. So here bacteriophages are allowed to infect the E. coli bacteria. So here you can see this is E. coli cell, and these bacteriophages are infecting the E. coli cell. And you can see here that infection stage, this DNA present inside the head part of the bacteriophage is entering inside the E. coli cell. Right here you can see this is DNA which is entering inside the E. coli cell here also, but Hershey and Chase didn't know about it. They were just doing the experiment. So in the next step, blending. In blending step, the remaining part of the bacteriophages were separated from the membrane of E. coli. So here this protein coat means the remaining part, some part has been entered inside the bacterial cells, okay, and the remaining part was allowed to get separate from the bacterial cells by blending. Next step was centrifugation. Centrifugation was done in high-speed centrifugation machines, and after that, after the centrifugation, there were two parts, pellets and supernatant. So here Hershey and Chase observed that pellet part was having radioactivity in this set of bacteriophage in which DNA was radioactive. Okay, here after the centrifugation, pellet and supernatant, two parts were there. Pellet part was having the bacterial cell, and the supernatant part was having the remaining part of the bacteriophage. Okay, means the part which has been entered in the bacterial cell was present in the pellet. Okay, and the remaining part of the bacteriophage was present in supernatant. So here what they observed that the set of bacteriophages in which DNA was radioactive, they found radioactivity in the bacterial cells, means in the pellet part. Okay, so here radioactivity was detected in the cells, in the bacterial cells, and no radioactivity was present in the supernatant. What does it mean? It means that it is the DNA part of the bacteriophage which has been entered inside the bacterial cells and making it radioactive. Okay, that's why these bacterial cells are radioactive here, and the part which was not radioactive has remained in supernatant, means that part has not entered inside the bacterial cells. It was confirmed by another set of bacteriophages in which protein was radioactive. Here you can see in this set of bacteriophage, protein is radioactive, protein capsule is radioactive. So here what was observed, that no radioactivity was there in the cells, means in the pellet part, in the bacterial cells there was no radioactivity. Okay, and supernatant was having the radioactivity. It means what was there? Only protein capsule was radioactive and DNA was not radioactive. So radioactivity is present in supernatant. It means that all the protein part, all the protein capsule is present in supernatant, that has not entered in the bacterial cell, and the part that was not radioactive has entered the bacterial cell. Okay, so it was confirmed that what is entering inside the bacterial cell? DNA. So we can say that observation of Hershey and Chase was that E. coli bacteria which were infected by radioactive DNA viruses, means a set of bacteriophages, were radioactive, but the ones that were infected by radioactive protein viruses, means set B, were not radioactive. Based on this observation, they concluded that resultant radioactivity and non-radioactive bacteria infer that the viruses that had radioactive DNA transferred their DNA to the bacteria, but the viruses that had radioactive protein didn't get transferred to the bacteria. Hence, DNA is the genetic material and not the protein, because only DNA is entering inside the E. coli cell, inside the bacterial cell, and not the proteins. Now, next topic is characteristic of genetic material. So, a genetic material must have the following properties. First, it should be able to generate its own replica, means it must have the capability to replicate, okay, to duplicate, you can say, to make its own copies. Okay. Second property, it should be chemically and structurally stable. There should be some stability in the structure of the genetic material, because without that it is not possible to carry the information as it is from one generation to next generation. Next point is third property, it should provide the scope for slow changes, that is mutation. Means this mutation, slow changes are also very necessary for the evolution. Okay, if there will be no change, means it will be so stable that it will remain as it is generation to generation, then how the evolution will occur? So there should be some scope for the slow changes, that is called mutation. That is also necessary for genetic material. Last one, fourth thing that should be present in genetic material, it should be able to express itself in the form of Mendelian characters, because Mendel has shown all its hereditary patterns. So for being a genetic material, it should express itself in the form of Mendelian characters. Now out of these properties, there's a property of making the copies of itself to generate its own replica. It is found in DNA as well as RNA, okay, but not in proteins. So the competition is, you can say, that is between DNA and RNA, that both the DNA and RNA have these properties. Okay, so genetic material can be RNA also. Okay, so here you will learn that why DNA is a favored genetic material over RNA. You see that in most of the cases, in most of the organism, DNA is genetic material. RNA is genetic material only in some viruses. Okay. So most favored genetic material is, you can say, DNA, because it is the genetic material of most of the organism. So why this is? Why DNA is favored over the RNA? So first thing, DNA is more stable. So this is first property of DNA. That's why it is favored over the RNA. DNA is more stable because RNA molecules have hydroxyl group that is lost in DNA. In RNA, ribose sugar is present, and in DNA, deoxyribose sugar is present. Okay, and what is difference between ribose sugar and deoxyribose sugar? There is difference of one hydroxyl group. Okay, so hydroxyl group is present in second prime position, second carbon of the ribose sugar, you can say, in case of RNA, but that hydroxyl group is lost in DNA. In deoxyribose sugar of DNA, that hydroxyl group is not present at the second carbon. This extra oxygen and hydrogen atoms, means this hydroxyl group present in the ribose sugar of RNA, makes RNA more prone to hydrolysis, or you can say it becomes unstable due to presence of this hydroxyl group. So that's why that is RNA breakdown or degradation. That's why DNA is more stable than RNA, because of the absence of the hydroxyl group at the second carbon of the sugar. Next property of DNA is its structural stability. Structural stability, DNA is a double helix structure, but RNA is single stranded structure. So the double helix structure of DNA is more stable and protects the DNA bases embedded inside the helical structure. Nitrogenous bases are present inside on the interior side of DNA, so it can protect. Okay, and this double helical structure provide extra stability, right? But RNA is a single stranded molecule that is more prone to the degradation. As you can see, stability of DNA structure in case of that experiment also, even after the heat killing of the S strain, DNA was protected. How it happens? Because once if temperature is increased, then DNA strands get separated. Okay, means DNA structure can be destroyed, but again when the temperature will come down, then again, because these two strands will be complementary to each other, means A combined with G and C with G with C and A with T, that's why these complementary base pairs again pair with each other. Okay, so DNA structure is more stable than RNA structure. Got it? Next thing, DNA repair and proofreading. Now here DNA is equipped with the better machinery for identifying base errors and correcting them. Okay, when the DNA is replicating means when it makes copies of itself, then there is a machinery for checking also, means either that replication is going on in a right way or not. Okay, so that is called proofreading. Or if any base pair is absent, in case repair also. Okay, you will understand in higher classes about the repair and proofreading. So so DNA has better machinery for the proofreading and repair. So that machinery for identifying the base errors and correcting them, and allow more chances and better facility for repair over RNA. So these are the properties which make DNA a favored genetic material over RNA. Next thing is, RNA is better for transmission of genetic information. Even most of the organisms have DNA as genetic material, but still RNA is considered better for the transmission of genetic information. Why? Because DNA depends on RNA for the synthesis of proteins. In this chapter you will study about it, that how DNA depends on RNA for the synthesis of proteins. You know that a gene expresses itself by the formation of proteins. Okay, so here for the expression of character, you can say, or you can say for the synthesis of proteins, DNA depends on RNA. But RNA can directly code for synthesis of proteins and hence can easily express the character. That's why we can say that RNA is better for the transmission of genetic information, but just because of the instability of the RNA, because the RNA structure is not stable, that's why DNA is the favored genetic material over RNA. Next topic is RNA world. RNA world is actually a hypothesis which says that first genetic material was RNA, and with evolution the genetic material has become DNA. Okay, this hypothesis says it that first genetic material was RNA. So what are the evidences for this hypothesis that RNA world, that the first genetic material was RNA? What are the evidences? So first evidence is RNA is capable of both storing genetic information and catalyzing chemical reaction. Because genetic material should have the capability to store the genetic information, so RNA have that capability. Okay, and it also has the capability of catalyzing the chemical reactions, you can say biochemical reactions, okay, which are occurring inside the body. So RNA can work as the catalyst for those biochemical reactions. Second evidence is essential life processes which are required for sustaining the life, like metabolism, translation means formation of proteins, okay, and splicing means after transcription that changes that occur. This is also a very important life process. You will study about it in the next topics of this chapter. Okay, so all these necessary life processes like metabolism, translation, splicing, etc. evolve around RNA. Okay, without RNA these processes are not possible. It means RNA is playing very important role in the heredity, in the storing of genetic information, you can say. Next evidence comes from the tendency of self-replication of RNA. Okay, like DNA, RNA also has the tendency of self-replication. So all these are evidences that RNA was the first genetic material, but because of its unstable structure, it has been converted to, means the DNA has been formed as the genetic material. How? In the ribose sugar, that hydroxyl group has been absent, okay, and due to which that ribose sugar has been converted into deoxyribose sugar and DNA has come. Next is the semi-conservative hypothesis. Semi-conservative hypothesis means a mode of DNA replication. It was proposed by Watson and Crick. As you know, Watson and Crick gave the double helical structure of DNA. So while giving that structure of DNA, they also told about the base pairing rule, that there is base pairing between the two strands of DNA. Okay, and on the basis of that base pairing, they said that two strands of DNA molecules separate during replication. Means on the basis of that base pairing rule, they suggested a method for the replication of DNA. They said that this could be the possible replication method in the DNA. So they said that two strands of DNA, because these are complementary, so they said that these two strands of DNA molecules separate during replication. First of all, these two strands will get separate, okay, and then each strand act as a template for the synthesis of a new strand. Okay, it means when DNA replicate itself, these separated two strands will act like template. Template means after reading that strand, new strand complementary to it will be formed. Okay, they suggested this method for the replication of DNA. And what was the basis for this semi-conservative hypothesis of Watson and Crick? It was base pairing, which is found in double helical structure of DNA. So here this suggested this method of DNA, semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. Here you can see this is a double helical structure of DNA. So they said that first of all, these two strands of DNA will get separate, means when the replication will start, these two strands you can see here, these are getting separate, okay, and then the new strand will start forming here. These purple colored strands are old strands. You can these old strands can be called parental strands, okay, and then by reading the information present on these strands, these old strands, new strands which are pink colored, okay, these will be formed. So here you can see these new strands are forming here by considering these old strands as template strands, okay, and this is like here a new DNA will be formed from this strand and also from this strand. So these two copies of DNA will be formed like this, and here you can see that what is present in these new strands of these new molecules of DNA, one old strand and one new strand. Okay, here also one old strand and one new strand, right? So this is called semi-conservative, means half conservation. Means here one strand in the new DNA molecule, one strand will be parental type, or you can will be parent strand, or you can say old strand will be there, and one strand will be new. Okay, so this is called semi-conservative mode of DNA replication, means it conserve itself half. Then semi-conservative replication, it describes the mechanism of DNA replication in all known cells. Okay, this process is known as semi-conservative replication because two copies of original DNA molecules are produced, right? Each copy contains one original strand and one newly synthesized strand. Your homework is NCERT questions 5 and 7, and yes, must read all these topics from your NCERT book, and if you have any doubt then you can ask in comment section or on WhatsApp. Okay, now we will discuss the questions, answers of the question that I gave in homework in previous lecture. So first question was a difference between DNAs and DNAs. Okay, here so this DNA, this means DNA is a deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, so here this is plural form of the DNA, you can say. Okay, so is deoxyribonucleic acid, which is the genetic material found in living beings except virus, whereas the DNAs, okay, this is, you know, this word is always used with the enzyme. Okay, so this DNAs is an enzyme which is responsible for the cleavage of phosphodiester linkage, where this phosphodiester linkage is present between two nucleotides for making a polynucleotide chain, right? So this phosphodiester linkage is broken by DNAs, means by this enzyme in the DNA molecule. So you can see, to break the DNA molecule, this enzyme is used. Next question was, what is transformation? So transformation is the genetic alteration of a cell resulting from the direct uptake and incorporation of exogenous means outer side, okay, genetic material from its surroundings through the cell membrane. Because this transformation process you have seen in case of experiment of the Griffith, where R strain bacteria uptake the genetic material, exogenous genetic material from the heat killed S strain bacteria. Okay, so that process was transformation. Next question was difference between heterochromatin and euchromatin. This heterochromatin and euchromatin are two types of chromatin. And heterochromatin is such a part of chromosome which is firmly packed, means densely packed, and are genetically inactive, means cannot be transcribed. While euchromatin is an uncoiled, or you can say loosely packed form of chromatin and are genetically active, means can be transcribed. Next question was, list the main steps of Griffith's experiment. So the main steps are, Griffith conducted his experiment on the Diplococcus pneumonia, or you can say Streptococcus pneumonia bacteria that causes pneumonia in mice, right? He injected S type of strain into mice first, and they died due to pneumonia. In next step, he injected non-virulent strain of bacteria, means R strain of bacteria into the mice, and they did not suffer from the pneumonia. Next step was, he then injected heat killed virulent S strain, means he heat killed the S strain type bacteria and injected these into the mice, and they survived equally well. In the last, he injected a mixture of heat killed S and live R simultaneously. The mice died with the symptoms of pneumonia. Living S-type bacteria were recovered from their bodies, means from the dead bodies.